welcome back. I'm Noreen Burke, owner of Call Clutter Fairy Home Organizing, and this is my YouTube channel, The Crafty Organizer. If you're new, welcome. I love to bring you tutorials on how to get decluttered, how to organize. I love doing upcycles, DIYs, and occasionally throw some craft items in. If you're new, you might be coming from Subtle Revelry, and we are doing a collaboration today, so I'm super excited to be partnering with them, and we're going to be going over some of my favorite craft items today. If you haven't checked out Subtle Revelry before, they are a blog on a bunch of fun party, DIY, and craft ideas, so definitely check them out. I'll have their link to their blog in the description below, but without further ado, let's get into my favorite craft items. As a crafter, one of the things I reach for most often are my paper cutters. Now I have a few different ones, but these two happen to be the ones that I grab the most often. My first is my Fiskars, and I love this one because it will do scoring as well as cutting. And when you need to replace the blade, it is as easy as a gentle pull, and you can pull out the blade and pop a new one in. There's no dismantling, there's no special tools needed. It is just a quick tug, and then you can pop in the new blades. The other thing I like about this particular one is that they're very affordable to get new blades in. So this one is my go-to for quick cuts, and then this black one here is for scoring. So now one of the only downsides with my Fiskar is over time, my grid has worn off. Now, I know I could buy a new one, but even so, the spaces in here are pretty large, so the tiny spots up here make it a little bit harder to see if I'm cutting a larger piece of paper, and I really want to be precise with my cuts. So when I have a larger piece that I really want to be precise with, I use my Cutter Pede by EK Success. The thing I like about this is it has small grid marks on here, so I can make sure that it is square no matter what size paper I'm cutting, and I very much appreciate that. The other thing I like about this one, and this is much like the Fiskars, is it's very easy to just slide the cutter off. This just rolls right off, so I can replace it with a new sharp blade, but they also have different blades that you can slide on. So this is a scalloped edge. This one is like a sawtooth, and then this is a scored if I wanted it to be something that could be perforated. They have so many different blades out there, and all you have to do is unlock the bar. It slides right off the end, and I can just slide the new one right back on and then lock it in place. So this makes a lot of different cuts really easy and versatile. And when I'm not using them, I can just store it in my cutter box. And each one does come with its own little protective cover so that you don't get hurt. Since we are talking about paper cutters, I would be remiss to not mention my Fiskars Roto Cut. I love this for a couple of different reasons. I keep it handy right on my desk. If I push the lever, it pops right out. And then with one finger touch, I can push the retraction button, and it pops back inside. I love this for safety. I love it also because I can grab it with one hand. If I've already got something in position, I can just grab the cutter, push the lever, cut what I need, and then bring it back safely without ever having to use my second hand. This also has an adjustable blade depth, so I can bring this as deeply or shallow as I want, which makes this just a universally terrific tool. An unorthodox tool that I love using for crafting is actually found in the kitchen departments of your stores, and that is a food scraper. I love using this on my Cricut pads when I'm trying to scrape off the extra pieces that have stuck to it. I use this when I'm trying to flatten something else out, get a sticker off, but then the rounded handle that you get to hold on to, I like using as a varnisher when I'm folding things up and I don't want to bring out my boning tool. This is a multi-purpose tool that I keep on hand and probably use every single time I craft. It also is great for pushing something down if I'm using hot glue gun and don't want to burn my fingers. Get yourself a food scraper and you will be amazed at how often you use it for a variety of projects. I have another unorthodox tool that I'm going to talk to you about, but first I have a question. I'm hoping I'm not alone on this, but do you save ribbon scraps? If you get a nice package and you get ribbon, do you wind it up and keep it in a bin, or am I alone? Please leave me a comment below. Let me know if you saved ribbon. But when I do and I unroll it, it always looks kind of ugly again. Oftentimes, I'll just go ahead and fold it up. I'll put a paper clip around it, or if it's wire like this, I'll crimp it down. But what ends up happening is I have ribbon that really isn't the prettiest to use again. So I just take my crumpled up ribbon, I take my old curling iron, and I just run it through. And it ends up making it good as new again. I find that I use this for a lot of different ribbon techniques. I also use it on paper that's been crumpled up that I kind of want to flatten out. And I especially use it if I'm giving money as a gift. I want it to look crisp and clean. I just run it through my little curling iron and it looks brand new and ready to give. Ta-da! This next craft item I would be lost without in my craft room, and I know it's a luxury to have, but that is my Cricut. I use my Cricut not just for cutting out vinyl and paper crafts. I actually use it for my clients when I'm doing labels and I want them to be really customized and visually attractive. I also use it for my marketing pieces that I'm cutting out and mailing. I use it on balsa wood. I use my Cricut way more than I ever thought I would, especially when I'm sewing. If I have something intricate that I want to patch on or use as a little custom piece, the Cricut will cut so many different things. So because there are so many great people out there, I won't go into a lot of details, but go onto YouTube, type in Cricut tutorials. Jennifer Maker is one that pops onto mind immediately, but there are so many wonderful people out there that you can learn from. And if you watch one that doesn't click, just go to the next one, but you will love getting a Cricut if you can add it into your craft supplies. If you're a crafter, you know there is a multitude of glues out there and adhesives available. I'm actually going to be doing a video pretty soon on the different types of glues and when and how they should be used. So if you're interested, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you'll be notified as soon as I post that. But a few of my favorites that I reach for all of the time are glue dots, and I have them both in removable and the permanent adhesive. I love these because they are so quick and easy to use, and if I'm attaching a lot of smalls, I don't want to deal with grabbing a bottle, putting it on, setting it there, waiting for it to dry. I'm a quick crafter and I want instant gratification when I'm crafting, so glue dots are the perfect thing for me. I can actually take my small embellishment, tap it right onto the adhesion sheet, and then it transfers over and I can immediately set it right on my project. No fuss, no muss. So glue dots is one of my favorite. But the other thing I like, especially if I'm doing layered dimensions, like my labels back here, are foam mounts. Now these come again in so many different sizes and depths. The ones that I use are usually about 1/16 of an inch deep. And if I want them thicker, I'll just stack them up. But most of these are coming from the Crafter Square at the Dollar Tree right now. And like this little pack has 528 little squares. You can't beat that. So I use this in the corners of my projects. If I've got a larger space like my labels back here, where the middle will be bouncy, I'll put a bigger square right in the middle just to keep it nice and flat. But if I'm working on a really big project that I want layered, I'll just go ahead and pull out my tape, which is a big gun, and that way I can give it dimension, but I don't have to worry about any ripple effects, and it stays right where I want it. If you're a current subscriber and you've watched my videos before, you know one of my go-to adhesions is spray mount. I love using this on bigger projects, especially if I'm attaching paper to something, whether it be a wall, a box, or I'm covering an existing piece of art that I just want to freshen up. I spray this on the project, I spray it on the paper, and I get instant contact. The nice thing about the one that I use is it is removable, so I can reposition it and it will stay in place until I'm done with the project, and then I can just peel it off. So if you haven't played around with spray adhesive before, I strongly recommend it. So I can't move away from the adhesive department until I talk about the trusty glue gun. Now, I'd love to know. I feel like these just last forever. Leave me a comment below. Let me know how long you've had your glue gun. If you're new to crafting and don't have one yet, this is the queen of all craft supplies. The glue gun, it works on a heating mechanism. So there's usually a high and a low temperature on here. And they also come in a mini form if you're working on small projects. But the glue stick just simply goes inside. And as it heats up, you pull the trigger and the glue comes out. You can very precisely decide where you want the glue. But the thing I like about this is you can also use different types of glue sticks. Make sure you're subscribed because when I do the glue review, I'll be going over the many functionalities of the different types of glue sticks along with the material that you'll be using. But the glue gun along with fabric glue sticks, the Gorilla glue sticks, and the multi-purpose glue sticks should handle just about any craft project that you have. I feel like this one is an oldie but a goodie, but my Crocodile is one of those tools that I use whenever I am working on gift-giving projects, I'm scrapbooking, or I'm doing card making. The thing I love about my Crocodile is I can adjust where I want holes to go to, if I'm stringing ribbon through, or if I'm trying to add an embellishment inside. But I also have a crimping edge at the very tip so that I can add in little brads or I can add in little snaps just to make something a little bit more interactive. These just have an unbelievable amount of uses in them, and there are a plethora of Pinterest and YouTube videos out there to give you new ideas to use your Crocodile. My next favorite craft supply is something that has been a godsend for me, and that is covering my work surface with butcher paper. I have repainted and resurfaced my table more times than I care to admit because it gets stained, it gets scratched, it gets ugly. And when I'm working on a craft project, I like a clean space, especially if I am recording for you guys. So one day I was walking through Hobby Lobby, I had my 40% off coupon, and I noticed a 100-foot roll was only $8. Once I got that coupon on, it made it a very affordable option to cover my table with. So when my table is covered with stain and dirt and glitter, I can just roll out to my next section of craft paper and I have a clean surface ready for my next project. It has been my favorite craft hack so far. And all I do is use a bungee cord at the end, and that keeps the loose end adhered to my table. I got an old stick from a broom that had broken. I ran that through the inside of the tube, and I just have that attached at the front of my table so that I could just constantly pull out a whole new sheet and I'm ready for my next craft project. As a kid, I wanted everything to be covered in glitter, and I remember grown-ups telling me, you're going to grow out of that someday. Well, I'm nearing retirement and I still can't get enough glitter, which is why the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens are everything to me. This 3-pack comes with 3 assorted brush sizes. It adds the perfect level of glitter and sheen to any project that I'm working on. These brushes are about $8 on Amazon, but you can get them at Hobby Lobby, Joann's, Michael's, Amazon. If you love sparkle, these are a go-to to have on hand, so definitely check these out. So if you're just starting out or you don't want to have a lot of supplies on hand, I use Imagebind.com. They have thousands of images that you can use, and you can upload these and cut them out on your Cricut. You can go ahead and print it and cut it out instead of using a stamp, or you can just print the image as is instead of buying artwork. I think you get up to 10 downloads per day at no cost, but if you find that you're using more than that, you can get a lifetime membership for under $30. So I love using this because in my business, I like to put images up on Facebook, on my website, or I like printing things and sending it out. This way I don't risk having any copyright infringements, and I don't have to add the extra clutter of having extra dies and stamps on my shelves. I didn't realize until I started compiling my favorite craft items how many of these are unconventional. An item I reach for all of the time is my Duck brand shipping tape. I just covered using Imagebind for printables, and I have an inkjet printer, which means that when I print those things out, they could get dirty, they could also get wet, and then they're ruined. But I also like them to look like it's a professional print. By sealing it with the Duck brand tape, it gives it such a professional finished look. This is the perfect little laminator for so many different projects. I'll go ahead and take this and seal my entire printed item so that it stays protected and I can use it for a multitude of craft projects. This last craft supply tool that I have is my favorite, and that is my scrapbook paper organizer. Now, I have a video on this, but I made this organizer out of a Sterilite Ultra Latch tote. So it's lightweight, it's easy to move around, and it holds, I don't know, about 1,000 pieces of scrapbook paper in here. So how I made this is I took a 12 by 12 scrapbook page protector. And if you'll notice, it's got the 3 rings on the side for putting it in a binder book. But I flipped the orientation. With my Cricut, I made a little label, and this is my divider. But inside the pocket are all of my smaller scraps for all of that color page. So when I want a red piece of scrapbook paper, I can just go to red, and any small pieces I have are organized in this one spot. And then all of my solid reds are right behind it. This way I don't cut into a large sheet without checking my scraps first, but they're all in one place. This has been one of my favorite techniques. It saves me so much time, and it also saves me from wasting paper. So that's a quick review of my favorite craft tools and supplies. A huge thank you to Subtle Revelry for doing this collaboration with me. Please make sure you go down into the description below, check out their blog, and if I missed a tool that you can't live without, please leave that in the comments below. I can't wait to read about what your favorite craft tool is, and maybe I'll get a new tool in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.